At 4:03 a.m., my hallway camera feed lit up with a woman slumped against my doorframe, bare feet first, then a wrinkled navy dress and a pale pink office vest thrown over it like makeshift armor. It was Alina Reyes, my neighbor from across the hall. A single dried tear track cut across her cheek. She clutched a bent folder so tightly her knuckles had gone white. I didn't open the door immediately. I never do. I studied her on the screen, her breathing, her eyes, the way she kept glancing toward the street. She wasn't drunk. She wasn't confused. She was terrified, but focused. Then she raised her arm and pointed outside. My stomach tightened. I moved to the peephole. The hallway was empty except for her. Through the glass stairwell door, I could see a black sedan parked across the street, engine idling, windows dark, exhaust curling into the cold night air. Her voice came through the door, low and steady. "He's back." I froze for half a second. "Julian Vance?" I asked through the wood. She swallowed hard. "Yes." I unlocked the door. The hallway light spilled over her face, highlighting the dark circles under her eyes. She didn't rush inside. She stepped in carefully, scanning my corners, my ceiling, even the smoke detector, like she was checking for cameras or listening devices. I was already moving, grabbing my phone and opening a secure checklist I kept hidden. Shoes, bag, keys, signal jammer. Elena watched my hands closely. "You knew this would happen," she said quietly. "I planned for it," I replied. Her gaze dropped to the thin scar across my knuckles. She didn't look impressed. She looked like she was counting every fight it had survived. Outside, a passing car's headlights swept over the sedan's windshield before leaving it in darkness again. The car hadn't moved.
"He can't keep doing this," she whispered. "He won't," I said. It wasn't a comforting promise. It was a statement of intent. I pulled a matte black Faraday bag from the hook by the door and tossed it to her. Phone, watch, any keys with chips, everything in there. She hesitated only a moment, then did exactly as I asked. Smart, not helpless, smart. When her phone dropped into the bag with a soft thud, it sounded final. I locked the door, slid the secondary deadbolt, and pulled up the building's exterior camera on my laptop. Elena followed me in, still half pointing toward the window, as if she could hold the danger back with sheer willpower. My apartment wasn't cozy, it was functional. Cables snaked across the floor, dual monitors glowed on a metal desk, a soldering iron sat next to a half-disassembled router. The couch looked untouched. Elena's eyes swept over the mess of wires. "That's a fire hazard," she said. "It's a battlefield," I answered. Without another word, she knelt and began gathering the cables into neat bundles, her movements calm and precise. Her breathing slowed with every organized loop. "Even battlefields need order," she said. A small, real smile flickered across her face for the first time. Outside, the sedan rolled forward 2 feet, stopped, then rolled again, taunting us. I switched to a street camera I had access to. The license plate was deliberately smeared. Professional. "He knows you're watching," Elena said. "Let him," I replied. She turned to me, eyes sharp. "Why are you helping me, Kieran?" The question cut straight through any bullshit. Because men like Julian Vance don't accept no. He started with contracts. When that failed, he moved to fear. I've dealt with his kind before. She studied me. "And what are you? A hacker?" "I'm a systems architect," I said, meeting her gaze. "Just like you. You build things that don't break." Her eyes narrowed, weighing whether I meant it. A sharp knock echoed through the door. Fast, hard. Then silence. Elena flinched. I checked the camera. Only a shadow disappearing down the stairs. On the floor right outside my door lay a small white rectangle. A business card. I opened the door 2 inches with the chain on, hooked the card with a pen, and pulled it inside. Vance and Harlow, LLP. On the back,
Handwritten, 48 hours. Elena read it, her voice flat. His lawyers. She walked to the kitchen like she belonged there, filled a glass with water, and drank slowly, steadying herself. I watched her with respect, not pity. "What exactly did he say before this?" I asked. "He didn't ask," she said. "He demanded." She pulled out a formal letter and a glossy photo from her clutch. The letter accused her of breaching an integrity clause on her latest project. The photo showed her leaving a building at night, with a shadow watching from behind. The message was clear. "I see you." Anger rose in my chest. I turned on the cold tap and ran water over my hands until the feeling faded. "Okay," I said, finally. "We do this clean." She glanced at the window. "Can we just run?" "Not tonight. Running makes him chase. We need proof, real proof that will put him away, not just scare him off." I set up a small mirror by the window to catch reflections from the street. On my screens, I began looping the hallway camera with a delay feed. "You've done this before," she said. "More times than I'd like," I admitted. My phone buzzed. "Marcus, your building feed just spiked. You good?" I sent him a photo of the business card. His reply came instantly. "Vance is escalating. Don't go solo. I'm 10 minutes out." When Marcus arrived, he stepped in with a slim black case, gave Elena a quick once-over, and dropped the case on the table. "So you're the neighbor he's been quietly losing his mind over," he said with a grin. Elena raised an eyebrow. "And you must be Marcus." He opened the case, revealing clean tools, a network bridge, tiny cameras, an air-gapped drive, and a directional mic. "This drive is completely isolated," he said. "If Vance's people touch it, they get nothing." Elena's eyes lit with hope. Marcus glanced at me. "Your boy here is obsessive, lives like the world might end tomorrow. But Vance, he's not just rich and creepy. He's got off-duty cops on his payroll, real eyes that don't show on neighborhood cameras." Elena paled slightly, but stepped closer. "Then how do we stop him?" "By making him afraid of prison," Marcus said. "Not bad publicity, actual jail time." We spent the next hours building our case. Elena called her assistant, Sarah, on a burner phone and got critical access logs and screenshots proving Vance had falsified records and used her project as cover for his own schemes. By afternoon, we had solid evidence: payments, fake audit trails, bribes. At the gala that night, we walked in ready. The Vance Conservatory glittered with money and fake smiles. Elena looked sharp in her navy dress and blazer, confident, not afraid. Marcus hung back as backup, while I stayed close but not too close. When Julian Vance spotted Elena, he approached with that polished predator smile. "You came," he said smoothly. "You summoned me," she replied coolly. His eyes flicked to me with disdain. "And who's this, your new bodyguard?" "I'm the man who read your logs," I said quietly, pulling out the small hard drive. "Bribes, shell companies, payments to board members, fake violations under Elena's name. Enough to interest the feds." Vance's smile faltered for a split second. Elena stepped forward. "I already signed a statement, so has Sarah. If anything happens to me, it all goes public." The room began to pay attention. Vance turned and headed towards his private office. Marcus's voice came through my earpiece. "He's heading to his office. He just signaled his private security. He's opening a drawer. Kieran, he's got a gun." We followed. In the office, Vance turned with the gun raised, eyes wild. "You really thought you could threaten me in my own building?" he snarled. I kicked a chair into the desk to create chaos. The gunshot cracked, missing Elena, who had already dropped behind cover, as planned. I closed the distance fast, disarmed him, and pinned him against the wall. "Say it," Elena demanded, holding up the recorder. "Admit you framed me." Vance laughed bitterly, but cracked under pressure. "I altered the records. I paid them off. She was just a tool." That was all we needed. When real police and federal agents arrived moments later, thanks to Marcus's call, Julian Vance was taken away in handcuffs.
2 weeks later, my apartment felt different. Still functional, but calmer. The cables were neatly organized, Elena's doing. A small plant sat on the windowsill. Elena stood at the table, reviewing blueprints for her new independent firm. "You put the server room in the wrong spot," she said, tapping the paper. "Interior wall, fewer sightlines." I smiled. "You're learning fast." "I already knew," she said, walking over to me. "I just finally have someone who listens." She reached up, resting her fingers gently against my jaw. I leaned down and kissed her, slow, careful, real. When we pulled back, she rested her forehead against my shoulder. "I'm still here," she whispered. "So am I," I said. Outside, the night was quiet. No black sedan, no shadows. For the first time in a long time, the silence felt like peace and the beginning of something better.